Hi friends, Quill here. Welcome to just a little bit of a hangout video. For those of you who don't know and haven't been following Pokemon Sword and Shield controversy, Pokemon has recently, and by recently I mean a few months ago, announced that only Pokemon that are catchable within the Galar Pokedex will be obtainable in the new games, meaning that if you have a Pokemon from an old game that is not in the Galar Pokedex, you will not be able to transfer it into the new games, which is a new sort of feature. I guess calling it a feature sounds kind of wrong, but it's a new aspect to these games that we've not experienced before. And so a lot of people are going through and kind of giving their opinions as to which Pokemon they think will and will not be in the new Pokedex, which ones will or will not be accessible. And so I wanted to go through and just look at each of the Pokemon. Today's episode is just going to be the Kanto region, but I'm going to go through and I'm going to give my opinions on which Pokemon I think will survive #Dexit and which ones won't. Now, I've already gone on to Cerebi and looked at the Pokemon that are already confirmed for Galar, and I've highlighted them here in blue, as you can see. And these yellow ones are the 3 Pokemon for which we have regional variants in Galar. Cerebi is assuming that with the confirmation of a Pokemon comes the rest of its evolutionary family, and for this series we're going to go ahead and follow along with that assumption, but with regional evolutions, we see that Game Freak is getting a little bit frisky with what they do with evolutions. So we're going to, for now, assume that if a Pokemon is in the Galar Dex, then the rest of its evolutionary line will also be in. But like I said, they're getting kind of interesting with evolutions and stuff like that. So maybe we will get Magneton, but not Magnezone, for example. But at any rate, let's just go ahead and get into it. All right, so we're going to start up here with the Generation 1 starters, and I can very honestly say that if the Generation 1 starters are not in except for the Charmander line, which are confirmed, there will be a riot, first of all. Second of all, I just don't see them leaving behind any of the Generation 1 starters. I think that would be a very poor choice, and it's just not, I don't see it happening. I think Bulbasaur and Squirtle are coming to Galar also. Moving on, we see, okay, so Caterpie and its line are confirmed, but Weedle and its line are not. And in terms of whether or not I think they'll make it, I've got to say that they probably will, just because every game that I can remember that had Caterpie and it also had Weedle, I don't see them leaving out Weedle and keeping in Caterpie. Moving on to the Pidgey line, I definitely see them coming to Galar just because they're pigeons and pigeons are kind of everywhere. Of course, we know that the Galar region is based on the UK, and I've been there, and that there are pigeons, obviously. Pidgey being based off of them, I think there's a very strong case to be made for them being in the game. I don't think that they're going to be left behind. However, when it comes to Rattata and Raticate, I don't really see them coming along. I know that there are rats in the UK, but Rattata and Raticate just don't seem like they're going to be there, and that follows for Spearow and Fearow also. For those of you who watched the Fire Red Omega Nuzlocke challenge, you know that Spearow was the first Pokemon I ever caught. So it kind of pains me a little bit to see Spearow and Fearow not in the new games, but I just don't see them there, especially if we are including Pidgey in its evolutionary line. With the inclusion of Weezing, we can pretty much confirm that Ekans and Arbok will be there. They're the other Team Rocket poison types. I don't see them leaving those out. Of course, Pikachu and Raichu are confirmed for the game, but in terms of Sandshrew and Sandslash, I don't necessarily see them. I think that they got some love in Alola, and I think that's great. You know, I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that back because Alolan Ninetales was introduced at the same time as Alolan Sandslash and their evolutionary lines. So I think that the fact that Ninetales and Vulpix are included will kind of semi-confirm Sandshrew and Sandslash. I'm going to go and say that they're going to be in there. When it comes to the Nidos, I'm going to go ahead and say that they're in. And I'm going to say that because they've got this sort of regal theme to them, you know, the kings and the queens. I feel like Pokemon would not be above pushing that metaphor as far as they can. And then Clefairy, Clefable, Vulpix, and Ninetales are all in. I definitely see them as part of the region. When we come to Jigglypuff, is just too marketable. It's already in Smash Brothers. It's been a favorite in the anime all the way since back in Gen 1. I just don't see them cutting it out. And I'm going to go ahead and confirm Zubat and Golbat. There are a small handful of Pokemon that have been in every single regional Pokedex, and Zubat and Golbat are one of those Pokemon, so I don't see them making this the first game that they're not in. When it comes to the Oddish line, it really pains me to say that I don't think they're going to make it in. I don't see them in the Galar region. There are already enough grass types, and I don't really see their place in the Galar region, and that extends to Paris and Parasect also. They just don't stand out enough, and people don't like them enough, I don't think, to include them in the Galar region. I just don't see them. Now, when it comes to Venonat and Venomoth, I do see them in the Galar region. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there's going to be a Galar variant of Venomoth at the very least, probably Venonat also. There are these moths that are native to the United Kingdom, and with the birth of the Industrial Revolution, their color actually changed to match the soot that was on trees to better camouflage themselves from predators like birds. So I think there's a lot of lore we could really dive into with Venomoth, and I think that a regional variant of Venomoth is very possible for that reason. We have semi-confirmed Meowth as part of the Pokedex. There are rumors going around saying that it will receive a Gigantamax. Alongside of Zubat and Golbat, Psyduck and Golduck are also Pokemon that have appeared in every single regional dex up to this point, and I don't see them counting them out of this game. Mankey and Primeape are basic fighting types. They're interesting, but they seem very Kanto to me, and I don't see them breaking out into the new games. Poliwag, Poliwhirl, Poliwrath, and by extension Politoed, but we'll get to that in a future episode. I don't see them counting them out. I think that would be a big mistake, frankly, and I think that they'll make it. Same goes for Abracadabra and Alakazam. Going along the lines of Oddish and its line, I just don't see Bellsprout making it on. There are enough grass and poison types. When it comes to Tentacruel and Tentacruel, I really don't have any reason. I just see them making it. I have a grudge against Tentacruel because of the Fire Red Omega Nuzlocke. I see them in the Galar region. Same goes for the Geodude line, the Ponyta line, and the Slowpoke line. Alright, now the final Generation 1 Pokemon that has been in every single regional dex alongside of Zubat and Psyduck are Magnemite and Magneton. And again, I don't see them counting them out in the new games. Farfetch'd is rumored to have a regional evolution called Sirfetch'd, and that was in the Ben Affleck leak, so I think that we can say that Farfetch'd will be in the new games. Doduo and Dodrio are really cool Pokemon. I don't see them making the cut just because there are so many normal and flying types. Seal and Dugong, unfortunately, I don't see them in the Galar region. I just don't think that they fit in, and they're kind of unremarkable. Frankly, I don't see Grimer and Muck getting counted out, as well as Shelter and Cloyster. I just think that they fit in the region. I also see Hypno and Drowsy getting included in the dex just because they have a sort of air about them that I think fits within the Galar region. Krabby and Kingler aren't going to make it. I don't think they are very basic water types. They're obscure. Nobody really cares for them that much that I know of, and I just all around don't see them making it. Voltorb and Electrode, there are just so many more remarkable electric types that I don't necessarily see them in the new region. The Execute line I'm pretty sure will make it, as well as definitely Cubone and Marowak. They've been cemented as fan favorites, especially since they got, whether those Alolan variants will be accessible in the new region is a different question, but their base variants, I definitely don't see them being left out. I think that Lickitung and Licky Licky will be included because they're depicted in the anime as sort of regal in a weird, strange way. The Chansey line I think will definitely be in. It's all too memorable, and I think people would be upset if it weren't in. Tangela, I just see it in the region, as well as Kangaskhan. I'll go ahead and throw Horsey and Seadra into those. I just see them there, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that Staryu and Starmie will most likely be there also. Mr. Mime is a Pokemon, and I think in Pokemon Go, I think it's restricted to just Europe, so I really don't see them leaving it out of these games. The next 4 Pokemon are kind of what I was talking about when I thought maybe evolutions wouldn't be preserved necessarily because of their base forms being included. Like Magmortar and Electivire, I don't see in the Galar region as easily as I see Electabuzz and Magmar. It's very possible, I think, that they make it and their evolutions don't. However, for right now, I'm going to go ahead and say, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Electabuzz and Magmar don't make it. Along with that is Jinx. I think that Scyther will make it, and I'm not quite sure why, but if I include Scyther, then I definitely have to include Pinsir there. So different parts of the UK, like Scotland and the like, are very livestock heavy. I think that including Tauros and by extension Miltank would be a good idea there. Of course, we see Magikarp and its line, as well as Lapras, which I'm really happy to see Lapras in the new games. That's awesome. On top of that, I think that Ditto has a very good chance of being included, but in terms of Porygon, I don't necessarily see it. And when it comes to fossil Pokemon, I definitely think they're getting cut. Snorlax is confirmed, and that brings us to the legendary birds. And I have a very interesting concept for these Pokemon. I'm going to mark them as not in the game for now, but I think that with the introduction of max raid battles, gives them the ability to add Pokemon in after the game comes out. And I think that the legendary birds are good candidates for this. I think that you could download a code or something that will allow you to encounter the legendary birds in a max raid battle and capture them that way. But upon release, I don't see the legendary birds in the game. When we get to the Dratini line, we've seen a bunch of pseudo-legendary Pokemon confirmed for the Galar region, and I think that that will extend to the Dratini line. Part of me thinks that Mewtwo will not be in the new game just because it's received so much love recently, but I guess on the same token, you have to say that because it's received so much love lately, it seems like it will be in the new games, and you can't really include Mew without Mewtwo, so I'm going to go ahead and round off this list and say that Mewtwo will be in the Galar region and catchable there. Alright friends, so that does it for the Kanto region. If you look up top there, these are my predictions for the Kanto Pokemon that will and will not be in the Galar Pokedex and those that will be playable in the new games. As you can see, there's a lot of green and a lot of blue. I think Kanto is going to be really, really big in this game. I don't see them counting out a lot of the Kanto Pokemon because Game Freak loves the Kanto region. Comment down below and let me know one Pokemon that you agree with me on and one Pokemon that you disagree with me on, so we can have that kind of conversation down in the chat. I'd love to hear what you have to say. But I think that does it for today. Watch for the next episode where we'll go over the Johto Pokedex and do the same sort of thing. But until then, my friends, as always, see you next time.